They invited the single mom, just to laugh at her. Ryan Cole didn't even try to hide it. He lifted his champagne glass, turning slightly so his voice would carry just enough. "You don't belong here." Not loud, just precise. Like he had rehearsed it. The ballroom reacted instantly. Not all at once, but in waves. A pause. A shift. Then silence that wasn't silence, just attention. Emily Carter felt it before she looked up. The weight of it. Eyes measuring. Comparing. Dismissing. Her dress, soft blue, simple, carefully chosen, suddenly felt thinner under the gold lights. Not because it was cheap. Because of what they thought it meant. A quiet laugh slipped from the bar. Another followed. Small. Controlled. Cruel in a way that didn't need volume. Ryan smiled. Slow. Satisfied. "I mean," he added, tilting his head slightly, "did you really think this was your kind of place?" A few guests exchanged glances. Subtle nods. Agreement without responsibility. But Emily didn't react. No apology. No defense. No explanation. She just stood there. Still. And that wasn't what they expected. Because humiliation only works when the target participates. Ryan's smile flickered. Just slightly. "Still quiet," he said. Now there was something else in his tone. Not confidence. Impatience. Emily finally looked at him. Fully. And in that moment, something shifted. Not in the room. In him. Because that look wasn't familiar anymore. There had been a time when Ryan knew exactly how she would react. Back when nights meant cheap takeout and shared silence that felt safe. Back when her name sounded softer when he said it. Back when he used to wait outside her building like seeing her was the only part of the day that mattered. She believed him. Not because he was perfect. But because he held her hand like letting go wasn't an option. Until it was. The change didn't happen all at once. It never does. Late nights became missed calls. Missed calls became excuses. Excuses became distance. And distance became silence. Until one night, under a flickering kitchen light, he said it. "I need something more stable. Not cruel. Not loud. Just final." Like she had quietly become something temporary. She didn't argue. Didn't beg. Didn't even ask why. Because she already knew. Some endings don't explode. They fade. The door closed. Soft. But permanent. Her hand rested over her stomach. That was the only thing he left behind. And that was enough. The months that followed weren't dramatic. No breakdown. No big moment. Just mornings before sunrise. Double shifts. Bills that didn't care how tired she was. And people. People who looked at her, the same way this room was looking now. One customer once slid cash across the counter and said, "Keep the change, you look like you need it." Not kind. Not cruel. Just dismissive. Another time, she was turned down for a job without even being interviewed. The manager glanced at her child. Then at her. Then said, "We're looking for someone more reliable." That was the word. Reliable. She smiled anyway. Said thank you. Walked out. And kept going. Because survival doesn't wait for dignity. But somewhere between exhaustion and routine, something changed. Not loudly. Not visibly. But permanently. She stopped needing people to believe in her. And that made her dangerous. Back in the ballroom, the laughter had faded. Not because they understood her. But because they didn't. And that made them uncomfortable. Across the room, near the entrance, a man stood still. He hadn't laughed. Hadn't whispered. Hadn't even reacted. Just watched. Not curious. Not entertained. Certain. And if anyone in that room had recognized him, they wouldn't have been laughing at all. Emily noticed him. Just for a second. Then looked away. Because she didn't need to understand him, to feel that something had shifted. Before we continue, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country below, and if you believe dignity is the strongest revenge, hit like and subscribe. Now, back to her story. The coffee shop opened before sunrise. Always. Emily was there first. Always. The air smelled like roasted beans and warm milk. Machines humming awake. Lights flickering on. Her movements were precise. Measured. disciplined. Because she had learned something most people never do: consistency is louder than talent. Customers came and went. Most didn't look at her. But one did. Black coffee. That was all he ever said. But when she handed it to him, he looked at her. Not briefly. Not politely. Intentionally. Like he was seeing something others ignored. Weeks passed. Then months. Same time. Same order. Same quiet presence. He never asked questions. Never crossed a line. But he noticed things. One morning he paused. His eyes resting on a small drawing near the register. A house. 2 figures. A sun too big for the page. Your child drew that. Not a question. Recognition. Emily nodded. A small smile. Then back to work. That was it. But the next morning something changed. A small bag. Left quietly. Inside, books. Carefully chosen. Not random. The kind she had once considered, then quietly put back. She looked around. No one claimed them. And somehow she already knew. But she didn't ask. Because some things don't need to be explained to be understood. Back in the ballroom, the man moved. Not fast. Not dramatic. But the room felt it. Like gravity had shifted. Conversations thinned. Ryan noticed. Too late. Can I help you? He asked. Still smiling. But no longer in control. The man didn't answer immediately. He looked at Emily first. And that changed everything. Because he didn't see her the way the room did. He saw her, the way she had become. Then he spoke. I believe you've said enough. Calm. Measured. Final. No one laughed this time. And you are. Ryan pressed. But now it sounded smaller. The man didn't respond with words. Not yet. Instead, his hand moved, resting lightly at the small of Emily's back. Not claiming. Not showing. Knowing. Emily didn't move. Because she understood. A whisper moved through the room. Someone recognized him. Then another. And suddenly, the silence wasn't empty anymore. It was aware. Ryan's expression shifted. For the first time, he wasn't sure. What exactly are you implying? He asked. The man turned slightly. And then, without raising his voice, without changing his tone, he said it. She is my wife. And everything broke. Not loudly, but completely. Because now, they understood. The man they had ignored was the one they should have feared. And the woman they laughed at was the one they never understood. Ryan didn't speak. Couldn't. Because nothing he said would fix this. And Emily? She hadn't changed. Not in posture. Not in expression. Because this was never about proving anything. This was about timing. She turned. And walked. He walked beside her. Not ahead. Not behind. With her. The crowd moved. Instinctively. Making space. Because power doesn't ask. It rearranges. The doors opened. Cool air replaced the weight of the room. And, just like that,